What's good, guys? This is Kid Achilles, and it is review time. So today we have 1051, which was a really cool chapter. Things are definitely winding down now that the main fight is over. I don't think that necessarily means that nothing else will happen action-wise while we're still here in Wano, but compared to like how hyped the last like 10 or so chapters have been, we're kind of definitely starting to think get ready for the conclusion of this arc and like the build up toward the start of the next one, which I'm definitely wondering what that'll be. Are the Straw Hats heading to Elbaf? Is Luffy going to get wind of what's going on with Sabo and then head that way in order to save him? Not really sure, but there's plenty of time to worry about that. So I haven't really been commenting much on the cover pages, but in the last few, the Germa captives, Sanji's siblings, have been like slowly breaking out of imprisonment at Whole Cake Island. And now in this cover page, they're like walking out of Whole Cake Island and they have just been dunking all over everything. There's fucking explosions and shit behind them. They kind of look like the antagonists in a 007 movie. But this leaves me wondering, like, where the hell is Katakuri? And why isn't he feeding them some mochi-shaped knuckle sandwiches? But hey, maybe we'll see our boy coming up soon. I really, really love Katakuri. I think my favorite fight in One Piece to date is the one between Luffy and Katakuri. That was just so good. But anyway, Kinemon is up. Definitely glad to see that. Last time we saw Kinemon, he was in real bad shape. So at this point, it looks like the scabbards have been treated and, they're able to present themselves to the people, which is super rad because the citizens haven't seen the scabbards in 20 years and assume that they were all dead. So, someone has the bright idea to broadcast this all across Wano with a light scroll snail. And so everyone in every province of Wano gets to see the scabbards coming back victorious when everyone thought they were dead for 20 years. Some of these citizens are blockheads though. Some of them are like, oh, did we die? Is that why we can see the scabbards? But yeah, man, the scabbards have been through a hell of a lot to get here, and I feel like that's an understatement. I can't really, quantify exactly how much they've been through. I will say that, like, something that I noticed is that they've kind of each respectively suffered just as much as Odin did for them to live. They kind of suffered in that same way to get Momo to where he is now. Not literally as in like, being like fried in oil or anything, but a lot of them have lost limbs. Just the sacrifices that they've had to make to get to this point are really big ones. So I don't think that's something that should be overlooked. And then we have the best part of any chapter, Yamato. I love Yamato. All right, so we see Yamato talking to the Straw Hats. She presents herself as Kaido's son, and so Frankie is like ready to square up. He's like, oh, so that means the fight's not over if you're Kaido's son. She low-key roasts them all for looking weird. She's like, I've been following you guys in the newspaper, so I know that you like all looked different, but seeing you in person is like super strange. And then Frankie's just kind of like, you have horns. I thought that was a funny little exchange. I'm definitely excited to see how Yamato develops bond and like different dynamics with different crew members. I think that's going to be really fun to see. But again, I might be biased because I love Yamato. So she's like, moving on, I'm joining your crew. Full confidence. She's just waltzing in. Now, I have been waiting for this. I was pretty confident that Yamato was going to join the crew, but for a while there, I was a little unsure. But I think it's happening now. If Luffy is all that we're waiting on, then I think she's in. So, Brook and Sanji are all about this, obviously, because they're creeps. Nami and Usopp are just like kind of in shock. Jinbei is the only one who's really kind of skeptical, and I think that is because she is Kaido's kid. It's also pretty funny because like Jinbei is the new guy, but he didn't really get to be the new guy for like more than 10 seconds before, here comes Yamato, who's now like the new person. Robin's reaction is pretty funny because she just kind of like says something along the lines like, oh, that's interesting. And then like there's a little heart. And I think she might be saying it that way because it's not too far off from the way that Robin joined the crew. She just kind of showed up on the ship one day and was like, hey, I'm part of the crew now. Yamato not asking, but just announcing that she's part of the crew now was like very similar to that. And I think Robin maybe recognized that. And so, maybe they'll have like a cool dynamic. I think Robin has a funny dynamic with everyone though, so she's just like a really funny character. She's weird as shit, but I think that makes her golden. Here we also see that Yamato is still going by Kazuki Odin. I've been like seeing and hearing where like folks think that this is kind of annoying of Yamato, but I think this is actually really cool because in a way it establishes the Straw Hats as a truly legendary crew. And here's why. Kazuki Odin was a member of the Roger Pirates and Whitebeard's Pirates. Now those kind of objectively for their time were the strongest crews, and Odin was a part of both of them. There is definitely a trend of archetypes in One Piece. This is proven by the whole concept of inherited will, but I think it transcends that in instances like these because the two most powerful crews of the past had Odin, and now Luffy's crew is kind of cementing himself in history in that same standing because they have an Odin of their own. Now, I love that about One Piece. I don't mind at all that Yamato calls herself Odin. I think a lot of people have like had someone that they look up to and would like to consider themselves that person when they're a kid, and then that, you know, transcends into adulthood. We do that exact thing with superheroes. I think it's very understandable that given the parameters that Yamato grew up under, and having had someone who wasn't a fictional figure, but someone who actually existed where she's growing up, be someone that she can look up to and aspire to be like, is really cool for me. But again, I love Yamato, so. Alright, we jump over to Otama, and we learn more about her jutsu, and we see just a really cute, tender moment between her and Horcella. Wasn't really expecting her to embrace Horcella as like a maternal figure, but I really, really enjoyed when Tama tells her that, you know, she wants her to like be her mom, essentially. Horcella is just like overcome with love, and it's just like she can't handle it. It's like too bright. I thought that was a really good moment. But through Tama's flashbacks, you know, we see where she finds out about her parents dying from like being overworked. We see her meeting Tengu, and also back at the beginning of Wano when Luffy makes his promise to her that, you know, once he's done there, she'll be able to eat all she wants. You know, she won't have to like depend on scraps. And then next up, we have Momo is, you know, making his pronouncements as he's like being introduced to the people of Wano, and of course they're broadcasting this everywhere. And so we see Luffy's just kind of resting with a smile on his face as Momo announces that the alliance between everyone has resulted in the successful raid of Onigashima. And it seems here like Kid is acting like he like doesn't want to be included in the alliance. Okay, buddy, you're a part of the family. Like, let's not pretend you're not. Kid was an invaluable part of the team. I don't think Big Mom would have gone down without him. I don't know what this means going forward for Kid though. If I'm not mistaken, I think he may have plans for going after the red-haired pirates again. So I don't know what's going to go down with the alliance now that they've achieved the goal. I'd love it if Law and Kid like, I don't know, like stuck around and stayed pals. But I'm getting the feeling that they'll probably branch off. And I really enjoy like the frenemies thing. I'll be interested to see in what direction that goes. And then we have the Momo reveal. This was such a rad moment. Momo has come so far. You know, I definitely had to read this chapter a few times, which is a good practice anyway if you're going to do chapter reviews. But just because it's really easy to like read chapters week by week and just kind of like suck them up as you get them. But in moments like these, it's really important to like step back and think about when it comes to Momo, when we met this character, you know, back in Punk Hazard, that was like such a long time ago. And looking at his character, I mean, literally and like emotionally, his growth has just been, I really love the effect that Luffy has had on them since they've met. I think it's done a lot to put him in the right position and kind of going in the right direction for him to be an effective ruler. Momo literally has had to grow up a lot, and I think he's had to learn a lot of really hard lessons really quickly in order for him to be in a position where he can be an effective ruler of Wano at this point in the story. Now, in the chapter, there's emphasis on Momo lacking physical strength, but him like, you know, having the heart and soul necessary to rule. And I just wanted to touch on this because Momo has also sacrificed a whole lot for this. The Scabbards have sacrificed a lot physically, and Momo has too in a few ways. He has given up the majority of his childhood, his adolescence, and even part of his adulthood in order to be what his people need in this moment. That's a big decision for an 8-year-old to make. Things aren't going to get any easier for him going forward. That kind of falls back in line with what I was saying before about everyone that Odin saved ends up suffering just as much as he did, just in different ways. I love the Momo reveal. Momo's appearance definitely reminds me a lot of Sasuke Kojiro and Vagabond, and that's my boy too. Oh yeah, one other thing. Why isn't anyone talking about Zoro? We see Luffy getting bandaged up and everyone's like, oh, is Luffy going to be okay? But Zoro's laying right there, bro. Right there, bro. Is Zoro going to be okay? Is he dead? No one's saying anything. He's laying there. I'm standing here. I need answers. I apologize. But anywho, this has been Kid Achilles. I will see you guys super soon for the next one. There's no break next week, so we'll be chatting again soon. Thank you guys for watching. It's always rad kicking it with you. Until next time, peace out.